Hello, Angular developers and web enthusiasts. Are you working on an Angular project with a web page packed with content and you are looking for a sleek way to enhance navigation for your users? In Angular, we often have to innovate beyond the framework's built-in features to elevate our user experience. In scenarios like this, users often lose track of their position on the page. As developers, we strive for seamless and intuitive user experience, and that's where a little creativity comes in. Today, I am going to guide you through creating a ScrollSpy-like feature using Angular. While Angular doesn't provide ScrollSpy natively, we can craft this functionality with a few lines of code to dynamically highlight the navigation links as users scroll through different sections. I am Ayaz Zafar and I have been working with Angular for more than 10 years. In this tutorial, we will explore how to manually implement a ScrollSpy feature in Angular application. This will not only improve navigation but also enhance the overall usability of your application. We will start from the basics of setting up your Angular environment, move through capturing scrolling events, and then dynamically update the navigation bar based on the user's scroll position. I will also share tips on styling and optimization to ensure the best performance. By the end of this tutorial, you will have a clear understanding of how to implement custom features like ScrollSpy in Angular, enhancing both your development skills and your app's user experience. So let's get started and turn your Angular application into a model of user-friendly design. Now that we are ready to dive in, let's start by understanding what ScrollSpy is and why it's a game changer in web development, especially for single-page applications. ScrollSpy is essentially a navigation mechanism used in web development where the menu items are automatically highlighted as user scrolls through different sections of a page. This feature is particularly useful in single-page applications where a lot of content is presented on a single long scrolling page. The magic of ScrollSpy lies in its ability to enhance user experience. It provides user with a clear indication of where they are on the page and allows them to easily navigate to other sections. This is not just about aesthetics, it's about making the user's journey through your application as intuitive and seamless as possible. Let's look at some real-world examples to see ScrollSpy in action. So these are the examples from these two websites. There are many other examples. So they have implemented the ScrollSpy feature. You can see that, and also this. So you can see that how it is working. Notice how as we scroll through the page, the navigation bar or the menu highlights the current section. This not only guides the user visually but also improves the overall navigation flow of the site. As users scroll, they don't lose track of their position, making their experience more enjoyable and interactive. These examples illustrate how ScrollSpy can significantly improve the way users interact with a web page. And the best part, we are going to implement this in an Angular application step by step. So keep watching. Great, now we understand the significance of ScrollSpy. Let's roll up our sleeves and set up our Angular environment. Whether you are new to Angular or seasoned pro, this segment will guide you through the necessary steps. First, quickly refresher on Angular. Angular is a platform and framework for building single-page client application using HTML and TypeScript. It's known for its powerful features like two-way data binding, modular development, and dependency injection, all of which we will leverage in our ScrollSpy project. Now let's set up our Angular environment. The first step is to ensure that you have Node.js installed, as it comes with npm, which is necessary for managing Angular packages. Once Node.js is installed, we can install the Angular CLI, the command line interface for Angular. This tool is essential for initializing, developing, scaffolding, and maintaining Angular applications. So open up your terminal and type this command: npm install-g at angular/cli. With the Angular CLI installed, we can now create a new Angular project. So let's do that with this command: ng new project-name. Okay, this command creates a new directory with all necessary Angular files. Navigate into your project directory and you will find the basic structure of an Angular application. To ensure everything is set up correctly, let's run our application. So before that, you can either start your application directly from this terminal, or you can open your favorite editor and use the terminal of that editor as well. I already have installed my project and I am currently using Angular 17 and it is already running in my browser. So if you want to run it, you need to simply run this command in the root directory of your project, that's ng serve. So you can now open your browser on this URL 4200, or you can also type the command -s. This will automatically open the URL in your browser. So you should see the default Angular application page. This confirms that your environment is correctly set up. And there you have it. Our Angular environment is ready. So in the next segment, we will dive into creating the HTML structure for our ScrollSpy feature. So stay tuned. Now that our Angular environment is up and running, it's time to dive into the HTML structure of our application. This is where we start laying the foundation for our ScrollSpy feature. First, we need to create the navigation bar and content sections. Let's add a simple navigation bar with the links that will later connect to different sections of our page. So here we have created an unordered list with a navigation tag. Each list item contains a link to a section. These links are currently pointing to IDs that we will define shortly in our content sections. Next, let's create the content section that these navigation links will correspond to. So here below, I will add a div with ID section 1 with class section with child h2 and with paragraph this. Okay, now in the h2 I need section 1. In paragraph I need some content lorem ipsum. Okay, so I just generated random content. Now I need to create a div for section 2. Okay, so right now this is what we can see on the screen. Each section is a div with its own unique ID, but make sure to fix the ID because it should be unique. These IDs correspond to the href attributes of our navigation links. When a user clicks on navigation link, the browser will automatically scroll to the respective section. With our navigation and sections in place, our HTML structure is set up. This setup will allow us to implement the ScrollSpy functionality where the clicking a link smoothly scrolls to a section and scrolling through the page highlights the navigation link of the current section. Next, we will focus on the Angular component tool. So let's quickly test it. Right now, you will not see any difference because the content is too short. So in order to see the difference, I will increase the amount of content. I will copy paste this several times. Okay, like this, and let's copy paste this as well. All right, let me add more of this content. Okay, now you can see that section 2 is not visible yet. So if I click on section 2, it will take you to the section 2. Let me fix the heading for the section 2 so that it could make more sense. Okay, now click on section 2 and you can see you are on the section 2. If you click on the section 1, it will take you to the section, the start of the section 1. And similarly, if you will have more sections, you can add them as well like this. And here just change the ID and change the heading for the section, and here add another one. Okay, so now if you click on the section 3, it will take you to that position. Next, we will focus on the Angular component to detect scrolling and dynamically update our navigation. So stick around and let's bring this ScrollSpy to life. With our HTML structure ready, it's time to bring the ScrollSpy functionality to life using Angular. We will start by setting up an Angular component and then add logic to listen for scroll events. In your Angular project, open the main file, usually that is app.component.ts. Here we will add the logic for our ScrollSpy feature. We have set up the basic Angular component now. Let's focus on detecting scroll events. To do this, we will use Angular's host listener decorator to listen for window scroll events. So let's do that. Here I will add that decorator host listener. Make sure to import from the Angular core and call this function and pass the window dot scroll colon scroll and comma. Here I will pass this text and then create a function or method window scroll event import event. Okay, here we will have the logic to handle the scroll events. Will go here. Okay, the host listener decorator is listening for scroll events on the window object. Whenever the user scrolls, the onWindowScroll method will be triggered. Inside this method, we will later add the logic to determine which section is currently in view and update our navigation links accordingly. That's it for the setup. We now have an Angular component that's ready to respond to the scroll events. This is a crucial step in creating our ScrollSpy feature. Next, we will dive into the core functionality of ScrollSpy. We will write the logic to dynamically highlight our navigation links as we scroll through different sections of the page. So we are about to see our ScrollSpy come to life. Alright, we are at the heart of our ScrollSpy functionality. Now we are going to implement the logic to determine the active section as we scroll and then update the navigation to reflect this. So let's dive into the code. We have already set up our own WindowScroll method to listen for scroll events. So now we will use window.scrollY property to figure out our current scroll position on the page. So let me write that line of code. Const scroll position is equal to window dot scroll y or document dot document element scroll top. Okay, so here window dot scroll y gives us the number of pixels that document is currently scrolled along the vertical axis. We will use this value to check against the top position of each section in our page. Now let's write rest of the logic. First, I will define a constant sections is equal to document.querySelector all, and here I will give it the class section selector. Next, I will use for each on this sections array HTML element. Okay, now I will use some conditions. If section dot offset top is less than greater than the scroll position and section dot offset top plus section dot offset height is greater than scroll position. Here I will add any for now to get rid of this error. Now here I will just console the section ID. Okay, so we are querying all elements with the class dot section and looping through them. For each section we check if the scroll position falls within its vertical space. If it does, we have our active section. Now the final step, updating our navigation. So let's quickly test it. I am going to check in the inspect element, console it and scroll down. You can see that it is telling us that we are in the section 1, but as soon as you reach to the section 2, section 2 will start to display in the log section, and similarly for the section 3. Okay, now the final step is updating our navigation. So we will add a class to highlight the active navigation link based on the active class. Okay, so based on the active section. So let's get back to our logic and I will remove this, and here I will define a variable nav links is equal to document dot query selector all navbar a. Okay, navbar actually nav links dot for each yes link HTML anchor element. Okay, as we know that these are anchor element, that's why I specified the type anchor element, and here type any array or maybe just any. Okay, now here within that I will add if condition. If link dot href dot includes section dot id, then we will add link dot class list dot active dot add with active class name. Okay, this will add the active class. In the else condition we need to remove it like this. So we select all navigation links and then add or remove the active class based on whether the link corresponds to active section. The active class can then be styled in your CSS to make it visually distinct. So let's quickly see the demo. So let me show you from the inspect element for now. Right now there are no styles, so you will not see any difference. So let me expand all of these links. Okay, now you can see that section 1 has the active class, and scroll down. As soon as you will reach to the section 2, the active class would be added to the section 2. Then look at that, the active class has been removed from the link of section 1 and it has been added to the section 2 because you are on that section, and same for the section 3. And there you have it, our ScrollSpy is operational. As you scroll through the page, the corresponding navigation link, our ScrollSpy feature is functioning beautifully. But it is not just about functionality, it's also about aesthetics and performance. In this segment, we will focus on styling our active navigation links and optimizing the scroll event handling for better performance. So let's get started. First of all, right now when you scroll down, you don't see your navigation. Okay, so let's fix that. So go to the CSS. Let me see. Okay, go to CSS and add the selector for the nav, and I will add position fixed, and top should be 0, left should be 0 pixel, width should be 100%, and height should be 40 pixels. Display should be flex. Okay, and flex. Okay, now let me add the style for the UL tag. Width should be 100%. Okay, and actually let's move the display flex from here to the UL. Okay, and list style should be none, and there should be a gap, 40 pixels. Okay, and I will remove the default styling from the links. Okay, and let me add some font family, Arial maybe. Okay, and font size. Okay, and on the top we need to add some padding, so maybe cut it and add another div. Okay, and you can add style padding top 50 pixels, or so this padding should be same as the height of your nav. Okay, so our navigation is taking the height of almost 40 pixels. Actually not 40, it is taking the 40 pixel height, so we should add the padding top more than 40, so maybe 90 is acceptable. So whatever. Okay, let's try 60. So whatever looks best, you can set that. Let me add the background color to my nav, so pixels, and let me add border bottom 1 pixel solid. Okay, now here in the A tag I will add a.active. So active link will have this color by default. So by default I will go back to the HTML, and here I will add a class active to the first section, because by default you are on the first section. Now I will scroll down, and if I go to the second section, then the second section would be highlighted. So let me improve the active color. Actually you can move this selector here to reuse the code. Okay, and make it darker a little bit, or maybe a different color. Now as we added some padding top, that's why it is not working as like before, so we may need to adjust some logic. So here, so to fix that, as we have added the padding top, so we need to adjust here something. So here I will change it from constant to let, and now I will add scroll position is equal to scroll position plus 160. You can adjust this value based on your requirement, and now you will see as soon as section 2 appears, it will be highlighted in the menu, and similarly for the section 3. Earlier it was not working, so you can adjust this number. For example, you want to make the section 2 visible as soon as it appears at this position, you can increase this value and it will just work like this. Let's see, it is appearing when it it become active when it appears in the middle, so you can increase this value further, depends on the. Okay, you can see as soon as it appears from the bottom, it will start making it highlighted. Similarly for the section 3. So you can play around with that, but for now I will set it to 160 only. Okay, that's it. So here we have set a distinct color and made for active links. You can customize this style to fit the look and feel of your application. Now let's address a crucial aspect, the performance. Scroll events can fire off many times per second, which might lead to performance issues, especially on devices with lower processing power. So let me show you that in practical. So here I will simply show the console log, and you can add the console log here as well. Okay, so let's try. Open the inspect element, go to the console and scroll. So you can see for how many times it has displayed the scroll. Okay, you can see it has triggered so many times and it ran all of this logic every time. So to optimize this, we can use a technique called throttling. Throttling limits the number of times our scroll event handler is called over a certain period. So let's implement that. Go back to your TS file, and here I will create a constructor, and within that I will add from event. Actually, make sure to import the from event from the RxJS and pass the window and scroll, and then pass the pipe throttle time. So make sure to import it as well from the RxJS, call it and give it the throttle time. So you can adjust time as needed and then subscribe to it. This start on window scroll event. Okay, now you can remove this host listener directive. So now we are using RxJS from event to create an observable from the scroll event and throttle time to limit how often our own window scroll method gets called. This can significantly improve the performance without compromising on functionality. So let me quickly show you in practical here. Refresh it and clear it. Now you can see that this time the number of console is very less. You can see this time it is only 20 user per message. You can increase this throttle time further, so maybe add 1 second. So let's give it a try. Refresh it and scroll. You can see that there are only 2 logs, but this time it did not work well. So don't overset the value, just adjust it a little bit, and 100 was fine. You can try 300 as well if that works well, whatever. So you can see that it is also working fine, but I would keep it at 100 so it will not take too much resources. It is still much better because this time it will take only up to few executions than before. With these styling and performance optimization in place, our ScrollSpy feature not only works great but also looks good in and runs smoothly. So experiment with different styles and throttling times to find what works best for your application. And that brings up to the end of our tutorial on implementing a ScrollSpy feature in Angular. Let's quickly recap what we have covered. We started by understanding the concept of ScrollSpy and its importance in enhancing user navigation on single-page applications. We then set up our Angular environment, crafted our HTML structure with navigation and sections, and set up Angular component to listen for scroll events. The core of our tutorial involved writing the logic dynamically, determine the active section and update the navigation accordingly. We also focused on styling our active links and optimizing our code for better performance using throttling. I hope this tutorial has shown you how straightforward and practical it is to implement features like ScrollSpy in Angular. I encourage you to try this out in your project, so it's a great way to enhance your web applications and improve your Angular skills. If you found this tutorial helpful, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I regularly upload tutorials and tips on web development that can help you in your coding journey. Here on Ayaz Tech, our mission is to make web development accessible and enjoyable, so we cover everything from basic concepts to advanced techniques, ensuring there is something for everyone. Don't forget to check out the additional resources and other tutorials on our channel. Whether you are a beginner or looking to advance your skills, we have got you covered. And of course, if you have any questions, thoughts, or ideas, leave them in the comments below. I love hearing from you and I'm here to help. Thanks for watching and happy coding.